Let your feet do what your body naturally is designed to do. If your ankles and back and your knees scream out at the end of the day like mine do, then I'm going to say go barefoot and free yourself from the pain. To learn more about going barefoot, click on the link in the show notes and live a better life in Xero Shoes. Go to www.xeroshoes to learn more. You're going to learn a lot from there. So, this is a very, very, very special edition of Talking with Kevin and Son. I have no show notes. I'll tell you like that. Basically, our show is designed to feature people you should know, but this is a call to action. Hi, my name is Kevin McLemore. I am your show host. I'm a four-time published author, speaker, and a mindset messenger. This show is brought to you by RMK Productions and United Podcast Network. If you don't know, I'm being a little distracted because I have my ride and die with me, my pet Sibby, my best friend. So, through the power of your story, our mission is to uplift your voice, inspire, share stories and experiences, and using perspectives as a framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is very simple: hope, helping other people every single day. So, whatever your objective is, successful people have created a framework around their day-to-day lives that enhance their lives, and many times they pour into others, like our guest today. This podcast will reveal to you the highly effective life through small acts of kindness and better words, changing the narrative of living and working with deaf and blind dogs. Today's guest will share with us the steps of becoming an emotional change artist and a better human being by educating us on the art of unconditional love, not only for our pets, but also will reveal just how hard it is to give love and have love returned without even asking. When we bring a deaf and blind dog home and into our lives, today's show is all about love, about learning, and how much our pets make our lives better. This show is a personal show. So stay around. And if you stay around long enough, my guest will teach you simple and doable steps. I'm trying to pet my dog while I'm doing this that will inspire you, transform you, and allow you to enter a world with small acts of kindness, lots of patience, and how, as the gift of love, will make your world a much better place. Our guest is um, a powerhouse of a speaker. She is a change artist. She is a gatekeeper to kindness. She has over 12 years of experience with deaf and blind dog. She is a certified professional dog trainer. She's also have a certificate. What is it? Karen Pryor, Click Training Partner. Is that right? Did I say that right? Certified as a pet, first aid person, and voted Best Pet Trainer of the Year. Let me welcome without any interruption, and I'll bring Sibby into the act, the gift, Miss Erin Marion. How you doing?
Hi, good. How are you? Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful introduction. I'm so touched.
You know something? I'm a little smoother than that, but Sibby happens to be here, and I am the human for Sibby. She is my deaf dog, and this is the first time she's making her debut, and I am
Oh,
going to
first
bring her
time.
up. First time, so we're going to bring her up and let her sit here. Maybe she'll be quiet through the interview. And so I don't know how I'm going to do this. Wait a minute.
I love
I,
it.
all right,
'Cause
I don't know how I'm going to do this, but how do I get this back? But anyway, I don't know how I'm doing this. I'm messing up all together.
you're doing great. I love
Oh,
it
there it
because
goes.
Sybil is the one that brought us together. So
Silver did bring us together. So
yeah.
let me go through some facts. So let people know. All right. I am winging this, and this is not my professional interview, but this is my personal interview. The facts is approximately 920,000 shelter animals are euthanized every single year. 390 of those happen to be dogs, 530 happen to be cats, and many of them are kittens and puppies. Why? I don't know. And that's the reason why I'm doing this show. Normally, I would let you know the backstory of my guest today. But like I said, this is personal. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I want to address a call to action to I want to educate you on the benefits of having someone that loves you unconditionally. I want to educate you on if you bring a deaf or blind dog in the house, that you've got to have a boatload of patience. I mean, Sibby has become one of my best friends, and she is by far the most lovable dog. And Erin, before I go on, since your troop is lying there nice and quiet, all right.
So,
Um, give us some idea. Tell us your story. Where did all this begin, and how did you become one of America's best pet trainers? And why is it important that we even talk about this shit, have this conversation about deaf and blind dogs?
yeah, thank you so much. Again, that's such a beautiful introduction. I love that we're winging it, and I am just touched that Sybil is here. So I think this is great. For me, this is perfect. So as Kevin said, my name is Erin Marion. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, knowledge assessed, which is one of the certifications that is becoming more recognized. I am also a Karen Pryor clicker training partner, which is another dog training school that I have attended. And it's dog training is an unregulated industry. So to be able to have certifications are things I'm extremely proud of. And I always consider myself a student of my craft. So I'm always going to be striving to receive more certifications and to learn more. But something I was noticing, so I started dog training when I was 19 because I adopted my first dog. I'm not quite sure I would advise 19-year-olds now to adopt their first dog, but that dog really did change my life. He had a lot of behavioral issues. So I decided to dive into dog training. I went to Colorado State University and I studied in the animal science department. Um, so as my training went on, as I went through college and as I had Otis, my dog, and I started to travel along the West Coast, I landed in Portland, Oregon, where I worked at a doggy daycare that had a few deaf dogs that attended. And I wanted to, as I worked my way up into the daycare as the general manager, I was starting to come up with training programs and ways to enrich the dogs a little bit more than just having like a pack of dogs kind of stir crazy, you get a little stir crazy together. I wanted to learn more about how to talk to these dogs. So there was an organization out in Oregon called Deaf Dogs of Oregon, which I started volunteering with. I slowly started to foster for them, and then I became a board member for the rescue. I became somewhat obsessed with communicating with deaf dogs because you can't use your voice. I found that sometimes if I was frustrated or overly excited or just feeling any type of emotion, it always came out in my voice, and dogs can pick up on that so easily, right? They can tell frustration from tone. They can tell so many things. So I felt that hand signals was such a clearer way of communication. Even to this day, I still use hand signals with my seeing and hearing dogs. So it was through this organization that I fostered my first deaf and blind dog. His name was Ghost, and he had a ton of behavioral issues. He was a compulsive spinner. He had pretty severe separation anxiety. He would begin to resource guard, and there just really, at the time, this was about 7 years ago, there really wasn't any information out there on how to train these dogs. You really had to deep dive, but it really wasn't easily accessible information, which I found to be kind of frustrating. Um, so I would reach out for help, and I was able to get some tips and tricks here and there. But from some of my studies and the things I had worked on, I started to try to interpret, clicker training, but interpret it for deaf dogs, or clicker training and interpret it for deaf and blind dogs. How do you create a marker signal? How do you know, incorporate positive reinforcement for dogs that can't see or hear anything. And it was there that the doors, just the floodgates opened. I then in 2019, I moved home to the East Coast. And after my first dog, Otis, had then passed, I was ready to get another dog. And I knew I wanted it to be a dog with a disability. And that's when Darla came into my life. And ever since Darla and all of my clients, I have now just found my niche and my passion of working with dogs that people may not think deserve a chance. Sometimes I will state that the hard reality is that not all deaf and blind dogs are mentally, physically, emotionally sound. So it is a tough decision to make at times, but there are plenty of deaf and blind dogs that also live very happy, normal lives. And I really use the word normal extremely loose because what is normal? I don't find, that normal really is anything. So it's become a passion for me to guide anybody who decides to take a dog on like this, to guide them, because what we have to remember is that our dog is their breed before their disability. So kind of like with Sybil, you brought home a border collie mix, right? With
Right.
all of that comes with border collies. She just happens to be deaf. And same
Yeah.
with Carla.
And the lucky thing is with me, I came in kicking and screaming. I had just lost one of my family members, a pet, and I was not ready. She wants my attention. I was not ready to offer forever home, even though I was talking and I had interviewed several what we call normal dogs at that time, and each time each dog did not connect with me. I still say this to this very day. Somehow I got set up because when the conversation was pitched to me that it was a deaf dog, I said I had no idea what to do. Did not know how to communicate. You taught me or taught us how to sign. You taught us how to communicate with her, how to read. And one of the things is I never knew how chill I was until I brought Sibby home because when you have a special needs person in your life, and I say that she's like another human, she's a family member, you have to have a certain level of patience. There are going to have their accidents. There are going to chew things that you thought you cherished, and you'll find out you'll get over it over time. They're going to look at you, and you're as pissed off you're going to be. They're going to look at you with loving eyes, and they're going to ask to be pet. They're going to, our dog is what's called a Velcro dog. And they're gonna love the crap out of you, and they're gonna bark in the middle of your podcast interview, and people are gonna say, "Why did you do an interview with a pet?" Oh, and the reason why I say because anytime there's something that is not human, that's an inconvenience, most people think they're disposable. And the reason why I wanted to do this because Sibby has a good friend, Stevie Wonder, that is not disposable. We're trying to find a forever home for him. And this is the reason why I do this. I see people every single day that have dogs that are normal. When it's 100 degrees outside, this may come as a surprise to you. If you cannot walk a mile in your bare feet on the cabin, do not walk your dog on it. And I would say to you, if you really want to learn the lesson, try walking or running a mile and expecting to have your dog feel comfortable, or running with your dog in 100-degree heat and call it exercise. My dog happens to need a lot of exercise, and we give them, we're that type of family. You need to know who you are and what type of person you are and how much love and how much tolerance. Um, I also want to say that when you adopt a dog and return a dog, you do more damage to that dog or that pet, returning them when they think they have a home than you do if you left them alone. And so I'm going to say to you, if you're a good human being, pay attention to it. If you are a dog person, congratulations. If you're a dog lover, we're talking to you. So tell us a little bit about Stevie.
Yeah, so definitely. First off, I have to say too that I feel so lucky I got to know Sybil for so long before you and your wife adopted her. And Sybil was not an easy case for the rescue. I know that they kind of called me saying that, really needing help, and she attended my daycare. I even had her sleep over for a week to kind of get to know her and to help her foster out. And it's really people like you, Kevin, and your wife, Monica. I mean, I find you were, you were the needle in the haystack. You were the family that we had been looking for so long. And Sybil is so lucky to have you. I know that you feel so lucky to have her, but
I
for
do.
anyone listening, Sybil was in foster care for quite some time, and she was not considered the easiest. And so the fact that Kevin and his wife adopted her was a true success story, to the fact that for their 15-year anniversary, Sybil was featured as a success story. And it was such a beautiful blessing that I am still to this day so grateful, because I get to see her once a week. But
Yeah.
I know we're talking about Stevie, but I just had to put that out there that
I appreciate that.
you and Monica are, we are looking for that needle in the haystack currently for Stevie. So I had to say thank you for being that for Sybil. So Stevie is a 10-month-old deaf and blind Australian Shepherd Great Pyrenees mix. So he is not a little boy. He is about 70 pounds, and he is 70 pounds of honestly pure joy, pure love. He is one of the most adventurous, brave, um, just all around wonderful deaf and blind dogs that I have ever met. I know I first started this conversation with saying that some deaf and blind dogs are not very physically, mentally, emotionally sound. They can have a lot of neurological issues, and Stevie is not one of them. He honestly, he and Sybil are cut from the same loaf. They are they are very outgoing. They love people. They love other dogs. Stevie has just had a rough go of it. So I've known Stevie since he was 9 weeks old. I am the trainer that brought him up from an actual shelter or pound, the old school pound you would think of. And the rescue, currently Angels Retreat, brought him in. So his first family adopted him, and he did severely outgrow their living environment. And they were fostering him this summer to be able to find the right home. He has had a couple of trial adoptions, none of which were his fault. We found out a lot of things along the way. So when speaking about Stevie, I also want to put it out there. I don't like to speak poorly of anybody that has been on Team Stevie, because we've learned a lot of things about him along the way. So we've learned that Stevie is not very good with cats. He can fixate on cats and kind of where they are. Stevie also does well with another dog, but a house full of dogs might be a little bit too much. He also is very successful when given a backyard, or when given the opportunity to go outside frequently for his potty training. He loves to play, and he loves to greet other people. However, he is still a puppy, a teenage puppy in training that will also need some redirection to not jump on people and not to get overly excited when he smells a new person. The current foster home that has him, it all feels full circle. The deaf and blind dog community is honestly very strong, and it's very small, but very strong. So my first foster, or I guess technically Sybil was one of my fosters. So the next foster was a deaf and blind dog named Mouse. And she was adopted out locally, and her family actually took Stevie in this past week and has been fostering him until he finds his forever home. So we have learned a lot about him in this home. He is thriving in this home the most out of any of them, simply because I think he has access to go potty. He's been given the routine of still coming to my house for daycare. Seems to be a really big thing for him, to be able to come to daycare. I know Sybil does very well with him
Right.
at he also gets hot easily. So we've actually noticed he's sleeping a lot better through the night when he has access to a fan right near him. His parents, or his foster parents, work from home. So it's really easy for him to just feel like somebody's there without getting constant attention. And they're also learning that Stevie gets overly excited when he is pet in a certain way, which is very common for deaf and blind dogs. So their touch sense is so heightened that if you go to rough house with him, or you go to do the typical scratchy pets kind of rough type of tactile stimulation, you're kind of almost cranking the jack in the box. So what they've been doing is a lot of massage type petting, almost there is a type of relaxing type touch called T-touch or Tellington touch. They've been doing some of that. And when coming home, they find if they just walk in with a toy, they're able to redirect him. So he's able to learn some of these basic core things from people that just understand having a deaf and blind dog, because again, we just want to remember these dogs are their breeds first. So just because Stevie is deaf and blind, he's an Australian Shepherd Great Pyrenees mix first, and he's 10 months old. So he's going to have all of those characteristics of a 10-month-old and an Australian Shepherd and a Great Pyrenees at a really, without thinking about the deaf and blind dog stuff. So other than that, we have been also hosting a fundraiser for Stevie. Stevie is on some behavioral medication just to be able to help. I will say about 85% or 90% of my clients whose dogs are deaf and blind, their dogs are on some type of behavioral medication to be able to help them process their world a little bit easier. I feel like when I have observed these dogs over the last 7 years or so, it's almost like their eyes are still trying to see and their ears are still trying to hear, but they're not getting that information. They're only able to gather information from their sense of smell, their sense of touch, and their what am I missing? Their taste. So, those are only 3 channels for them to be able to get information. So they do easily excite, they do overstimulate easily, and sometimes they have a hard time settling. But with the right behavioral medication protocol, it can help them out quite well. So we want to make sure that when Stevie does go to his next chapter, we're able to kind of fund them part of a bank account to be able to see a veterinary behaviorist to make sure he's actually on exactly what he needs and that he's thriving and not being sedated or anything like that. That's not really what we want. So there is a donation fund. If anyone is interested in supporting Stevie, you can go to www.angelsretreat.org and click donate. And then just label it for Stevie, and that will go towards Stevie being able to see a veterinary behaviorist, to still attend some of my daycare days, and then to be able to still receive training. I kind of want to package this to either his current fosters or to his new adoption, to be able to say, like, here is everything we can provide for you so that this is his forever home. Because I really don't want to see Stevie returned again. I think that could be quite catastrophic.
I think for us, the biggest thing is not so much civil training, us training civil, is that we had to train to love civil. And fortunate for us, we were in a good situation that not only did we adopt civil into a forever home, we actually adopted you and your family. I've attended your wedding. I've been around. You've got a new home coming up, a new space for all these wonderful humans that happen to have 4 paws. And I think what I like to do is get people to understand, if you had a child that you brought into this world and they became a challenge and they were deaf or blind, you wouldn't dispose of them like you were taking out the Tuesday trash. And that's what happens to many dogs. Every holiday, people decide that they want to give a puppy. And then all of a sudden, because the puppy needs to be walked, and chews things, you forget your children chew things, they destroy things. How many people remember VCRs, and how many little toys got stuck in VCRs, and how many, like me, my baseball collection, how many times my children have played with balls that were worth thousands that have no value now for the simple fact they needed a ball to play with. Your pet and your best friend, and that's the reason why they call it man's best friend, they need that same attention. And as well as they're learning to get used to their human. Because I know with mine, Sibby is called what they call a Velcro dog. She is by my side, which I didn't know, that I am her form of protection. The first FYI of anything that's going to happen, they alert me first, and she realizes if I'm in a panic, she needs to be on guard. And so, and the nice thing about it is that, I sit on the couch and I get love every single day. And so, yeah, she did poop in the house when she came in. Yes, she had accidents. If you notice when she wants to go out now, she barks, and that's because we have Peyton, which is named after Walter Payton. He helped train and bridge the gap for us because she had another partner. He taught her how to go outside, taught her where to poop and pee. She still pulls and she still gets excited. But the thing is, I don't pull and I don't get excited because that's just part of who she is. And if you're a person that is a dog lover, I'm not saying a dog owner, there's a difference because love comes with no conditions. The same way a dog loves you unconditionally, you need to be patient and love that dog. You also need to learn how your new family member can exist in the house. So it means that you, like any child, you have to protect her. You got to put things that normally you would leave lay out. You have to put it away. Halloween is not a good time for dogs because as much as dogs like chocolate, chocolate doesn't do well for dogs. You'll miss your dog. And just because you eat something and you think a dog can chew a bone, guess what? It's a very expensive vet bill in the event that that's the way you're thinking. So we're looking for not only passionate people that love animals, someone that's going to welcome into a home that's going to have a clean environment, someone that's going to be understanding and patient and learn how to love this Stevie. We're also going to look for someone that is a good human being that's going to make sure this life that this animal has is a forever life with a good person. That's what we're looking for. And that's the reason why we're doing this show. I should have named the show Find a Home for Stevie, but I sincerely believe Stevie is not going to be the last one. And and the reason why I opened up this show with the facts of how many animals are euthanized, when you bring a dog back, or a cat or a dog or any type of animal, and you return them, the chances of them being euthanized, and this is even with puppies, go sky high because
Yes.
everyone wants the perfect dog. Everyone wants to have a purebred and whatever, and people don't understand. Some of the best dogs come from a mix of everything. You ever see Fruit Loops? Okay, all right. We know they're fattening, but we like them. Okay.
Well, and there is an extreme dog crisis in the United States right now. What happened is during COVID, everybody went out and adopted a dog. And then what happened is when the mandates were lifted, everyone went and returned it. So if you are thinking of returning your dog to the rescue, Kevin's facts are true. The likelihood of that dog being euthanized is very high. All of the shelters that I have association with, they are all full. All of the rescues that am associated with, they are all full. All of the foster homes are full. The adoption rates are at an all-time low right now. So if you think that you can provide that someone else will provide a better home for your dog, that's most likely not true. And then the other statement is, well, I get this saying all the time that my dog would just do best on a farm if they could just run around on a farm. Well, just to let everyone know, I own or will own a farm and I
Yes.
do land on a farm right now, and that space does not exist because the likelihood of of that dog being hurt is very high. And if you have a reactive dog that you think would just do better living on a farm, that also is not true because you have to think of the other livestock and the other animals that live on the farm, or that farmers still get packages from the UPS man, or farmers still have guests that come over. So I call it the magical farm that everybody thinks is out there. It doesn't exist. And it's if you're needing help for your dog, a lot of trainers will work financially with you. I know that I have a program with most of the rescues that I work for that I give discounts to. If you have adopted from this certain rescue, I provide virtual sessions discounted and even in-person sessions. If you are someone who needs a sliding scale, communicate that to a trainer. It's just we're the United States is very much in crisis mode right now, currently, when it comes to rescue dogs that, I think before Stevie was currently in his foster home, I was very concerned about him going back to the rescue and his quality of life just a dog run. So even if you're able to foster and able to open your home up for just a couple months to another dog, even if you do it once a year, you're most likely saving that dog from an alternative that isn't so pleasant to think about.
Yes, and believe it or not, I would say that normally I made a mistake in wearing black, and now I'm black and white. People that know me always see the dog hair on me, and that just shows that I'm loved by someone other than them. Can we see Stevie right now? Can you angle the camera?
So Stevie isn't here right now. I can share a picture. I apologize. I have my deaf and blind dog here, but I
Well,
can.
let's see your dog. Let's see yours.
Okay.
All right, we've met Sibby.
So I have a deaf and blind dog. This is Darla right here. And then I do have a fully blind dog, and this is Clark. So
Hey,
both of
Clark.
these dogs do have pretty severe disabilities, but that doesn't hold them back at all. Actually, our Kevin and I's dogs are very close friends. So let me see if I can kind of get them in position here for you. Come here. You sit. Okay. So this is my crew. So as you can see, as I just communicated with them, they both know two different languages. So what I mean by that is, for instance, Kevin's dog knows hand signals. Darla here being fully blind and partially deaf, I talk to her through different touch points on her body, just as I do with Stevie. I talk to him the same way. And then her brother here, he is fully blind, but he can hear. So I do use verbal cues a lot, but I also use tactile cues. I find that incorporating touch cues with these dogs or tactile cues can be helpful when in a stimulating environment. So if you have a blind dog, I find it helpful to still have tactile cues, because if you're in a noisy environment and they can't pick out the words you're saying, you can still touch on them in different points. Darla is also severely epileptic. So some of these dogs sometimes do have other health issues. It's not always the case, but I will say it can be common that they do have seizures, but that still does not hold her back whatsoever. We're still able to go camping with her. We do have to adjust our schedule due to her medications, but we honestly wouldn't have it any other way. Darla has been, just as Kevin was saying about Sybil, Darla has been one of the most joyous animals I ever have had the pleasure of spending life with. And I'm so grateful. She teaches me something every day, and she teaches me just the power of resilience, and that, you don't have to hear and see the world to be able to fully enjoy it.
That should be on a t-shirt. It's funny. Uh, my other dog, Peyton, which I said named after my favorite football player, Walter Payton. He was not a huggable, loving dog. Even though he liked being petted, as soon as he got his attention fixed, he was like, "Okay, on with you, on with you." As soon as Sibby came in and found out that she got a lot of love, hugs, and if I laid on the couch watching football games, she would snuggle underneath me. All of a sudden Peyton goes, wait a minute, I think that's a good idea, you know. So now I have two of them.
Oh,
I wouldn't trade it for the world, even though that I wasn't 100% comfortable, but I knew the type of person I was, is that I did love her from day one. Love her from day one. Was she a challenge? Yes. Is she a challenge? Sometimes. But, I'm a pain in the butt too. So I'm pretty sure that, when I'm working and she wants attention, like she was barking earlier today, it's her feeding time. So she wants me to feed her and take her for a walk, which I would do. And I also have learned the lesson the hard way. When she barks after I fed her, she'll go to the door. If I don't respond to her right away, she leaves me a little surprise to remind me that I've told you, it's me that can't hear. You can hear. So, so as a human, and I'm going to repeat this several times over, and I want you to pay attention to this. 920,000 dogs and cats that are in a shelter are euthanized daily, all right, across this country. 390 of them, this stat, and I would say this stat is probably a lot higher, are dogs. 530,000 of those are kittens, and many of them are puppies, just because they are different, just because they're special, and just because they cannot find a home, or we can't have a home where someone can tolerate. a little creative action in the home, they return them. And it's a death sentence for many of these dogs. There's not many people like Erin on this planet. She is voted Trainer of the Year for a reason. She has two, you know, special friends in her family that are family member that love and adore her, and she loves and adores them. And she under like any other relationship, every relationship takes work. So if you're the type of person that's willing to put in the work, all right, willing to learn, willing to be something really special to someone that's going to love you no matter how short you are, how big you are, how fast you walk, or how you don't do this, or whatever the case may be, they're going to love you unconditional. If you want to find where kindness lies, look at this screen right now. That's where kindness begins. All right. Animals can teach us so much.
They
All
can.
right.
They'll they change your life. I have been interviewed for podcasts before about deaf and blind dog training, and someone asked me one time, "Do you think you'll ever have a seeing and hearing dog again?" And I don't think I will. I always want my home to be a safe space for everything, everyone, every animal, every human, whatever background you're from, whatever gender, sexuality, and same with dogs, whatever, behavioral, whatever genetic, whatever disorder. I truly believe that everybody deserves a chance. I believe everyone deserves a second chance. And these animals, just as you stated with Sybil, they try to communicate to you. It's just we have to learn how to listen.
And that's the story of life. And I'm going to tell my listeners, even though we're talking about deaf and blind dogs, the whole purpose of me doing this interview and not having a ton of show notes and a lot of production behind it is because I am hell bent to make sure that Stevie is not put down, that he's going to find a forever home.
Yes.
You know, I am hell bent because I know that there's someone out there that follows this podcast that's either in my family circle or my virtual circle that has a big heart. We'll deliver them. And if you're in this area, guess what you get? You get Erin too, because Erin spent a lot of time. She probably spent more time teaching me um, how to communicate with Sybil than Sybil was being taught to communicate with me. You just have to be open-minded and you have to be patient and you understand this like life, there's good days and bad days and everything takes work. And if you've got a heart that's bigger than gold, it's time for you to spread the wealth.
Yes, and I just want to thank you so much for having me on here to talk about this. It's such as, it's my favorite thing to talk about, but the fact that you had me on to be able to speak about Stevie and to be able to get the word out about such a truly amazing dog is I'm just so eternally grateful to be able to get the word out. If you're, for anyone listening, if you would like to see what Stevie looks like or watch videos of Stevie, he's on all of my social media, just down to earth dog lady. And you'll see just everything from when he was a puppy to where he's at now.
Yeah. And if you're someone that, like me, I personally, I would say I'd take Stevie in a heartbeat. All right. But, I live in a community that only allows us to two dogs. I would take them. And I thought about manipulating the fact that, well, since she's white, they say we all look alike. I would figure take one out at one time, take the other out, and just count them as the same thing.
They do look similar.
They do look similar. So I figured I would just play the game, but cheating in life doesn't get you ahead. Um, but being fair, and I want to be fair to Stevie. This is a call to action. I want to find someone that's a lover of dogs, a
Yeah.
good human that will understand that this dog is going to love you. And it's going to take some work. Like you said, Erin, there are some particulars that she needs. You need to learn how to do this the same way dating is, you
Yeah.
know. You need to learn how to love your person, no matter if they pick up the laundry or not, and no matter if they learn how to cook or clean. And sometimes they throw little fits or whatever, and you got to learn to be calm because every storm there's a calm before and calm after. And we forget the storm when we really love what the calm brings us.
Yes. I
All
couldn't
right.
agree, Kevin. I couldn't agree more.
Aaron, before we leave, give us a little bit more of a rundown of the type of home that Stevie needs. I just said Sybil.
Yeah, I was like, well, he should. Sybil landed the perfect home.
Sibby is not coming back. You can offer me $1 million. I'll rent her and do a drive-by. We're not giving her away.
Oh, she landed the, like I think I said earlier, Sybil landed the golden ticket to the chocolate factory. She is, I mean, just the perfect home. So Stevie, so yes, so Stevie I would love to see him in a home with a backyard. It does not need to be fenced. He just needs to be able to have access. Apartments life would not suit Stevie is kind of where I'm going with that. Stevie would do best if someone worked from home or just was able to leave him for about less than 4 hours right now. Stevie would also do best with someone that understood that he is a large puppy that does puppy things. They just seem a little bit extra because he's so big. So he just does very typical puppy things, such as when he gets excited, he jumps, or when he gets excited, sometimes he mouths, nothing such as biting or anything like that. He still needs enrichment. He still needs, daily walks, things like a normal puppy. And I use the term again, normal, very loosely. Stevie would also do best with someone who understood a little bit of herding breed behavior or Australian Shepherd behavior. Stevie would do best with someone that likes to keep their house at a bit of a cooler temperature, maybe a nice fan going on. It seems to make him very comfortable. Stevie would also do best with someone who is willing to take him to a veterinary behaviorist just to make sure he's on the right medication protocol, even if one day that medication protocol is lifted off of him. And just understanding his age bracket, that he is 10 months old. Any dog at 10 months can be a handful. So just reminding yourself that this is a small time frame for him in the scale of his entire life. I know my youngest just turned 2, and I was like, ooh, okay, we are out of the woods. We did it. We made it to adulthood. So just reminding yourself that he is an adolescent and that things will get easier over time. Someone that's understanding of potty training. Deaf and blind dogs can take a bit longer to potty train. So he may have an accident here or there, but again, if given access to outside, he does not really tell you too much when he has to go, but he learns where the door is. And kind of like Kevin was telling with Sybil, he gives some signs of when he has to go, but he may not ring a bell or anything that some people are used to. And that's pretty much it. I think the biggest thing about Stevie is that his everyone just expects so much out of him at such a young age, and he's like a high schooler right now. I remember what I was like in high school. I wasn't I wasn't that mature. So just reminding yourself of those things. And as Kevin stated, I like to come with Stevie. Hopefully we get along because Kevin and his wife have become my family, but I would like to come with Stevie. I'd like to be a package deal to guide you within the first few months on everything about Stevie. It's a bonus if you're local, so he can come to my daycare because he does love daycare and he really loves Kevin's dog. I think, a little bit of a girlfriend boyfriend situation there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be local. I teach virtually all the time, but I want to make sure I'm kind of holding the new person's hand for the first few months to make sure Stevie stays successful.
And I'm going to be a little selfish. I'm hoping that someone locally brings Stevie into the forever home because I don't want to stop Sybil. That the relationship seems to be good. Stevie seems to be a pretty decent dude, and I'm okay with Sybil and that relationship. And so I would like to
Yeah.
maintain that. And again, I am a product of the product that I'm talking about. We did bring Erin into our home, and now she's into our life. It was a investment, but it was money well spent. I was going to spend it anyway. You can't take it with you. So if you're that type of person, then ignore this interview itself, and you just got to be patient. I exercise. My dog exercise. I like to walk. I like to climb. They do it. They like to water. I clean up, and they mess up. As long as no adults are pooping on my floor, I'm pretty good with that. Okay.
I just want to
So,
thank you too, Kevin. You and Monica have always believed in me, and have supported my small business from the second I met both of you. And that is that can be very rare. And so to have someone believe in a small business so much is something I'm so passionate about. And so it just such deep gratitude to you and your wife for believing in me and supporting a small business. It just, especially to a young, queer couple, I just want to thank you. It means more than you know. And like you said, you've definitely become family.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm doing this grudgingly for the simple fact you keep bringing up small businesses, and the way that I teach, all big ideas started out small ideas, all big businesses started out as small business. I don't want to lose you. I'm really not that happy about sharing you. I'm really not that happy about Stevie going to a home away from home. I'm not really happy. I'm doing this because I love Stevie. I love Stevie Wonder. I love Stevie Wonder. I'll say that. So to the listeners, one more time, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, so if you are interested in learning more about Stevie, if you have questions about Stevie or are thinking about adoption, you can reach out to me at downtoearthdoglady.com or all of my social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm just at downtoearthdoglady, or you can email me at downtoearthdoglady@gmail.com.
All right. With that said, most people know me as a mindset messenger, and I'm going to say this to you: to grow, you've got to make some mistakes. To be confident, you have to address your anxieties. To forgive yourself, you must hold yourself accountable. To learn, you must unlearn some stuff. To exist, you must show up. And if you want to exist, take Stevie home with you. Understand the power of your words. This is a note from me, your mindset messenger. If you like what you've heard, and like I said, this is an unproduced podcast today. We roughed it today. Hopefully, I didn't drop the ball too much. You got a chance to um, be introduced to my personal life, which I don't share with many people on my podcast. And now I've been outed today. So I'm fine with it and I like it. I've shared my family member with you, Sybil. I've shared my extended family with you, and I'm being very selfish. I want to find Stevie Wonder forever home, not someone that just wants to foster him for a couple of days. I want someone to give him a life and let him live his life with you and share your life with you. I want to find someone that's not going to walk him out on the spare parts at 100 degrees. I don't want him to go to a home that's going to leave him chained to a fence when it's 17 degrees below. I don't want him to be in a home that if he misbehaves, they take a paddle or a whip to him or whatever. And I don't want that type of person. I want someone that's all about love, someone that has some patience, and someone that has kindness and has a higher calling in life to make a difference in someone's life. So if you're that person, go to RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page and share this. If you know someone, if you're not that person, and connect them to it. If you're a person that would like to be on this show and you want to talk and share your story about your death of a blind dog, I would welcome you to come on the show. Go to info@rmkproductions.org. I would love to tell your story because I think the more people that talk about the experience of living with a gifted pet, I think it'd be easier for people to adopt. Like I said, you wouldn't throw your child out with the bathwater. Why would you do it to your pet? They're human too. So with that said, my grandfather always said, when you get to a point in life, it is your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, we'll fade to black. Erin, thank you. Stevie, and everyone else. And the real dog lovers, not owners, real dog lovers, I thank you. And with that, we're out.